name's Haley. I'm an honor mentorship program here at Central. So where I interned was it's called Pine and Pigment. It's a DIY art studio at the Collections. It's very different from what I want to do as my career, whereas I want to go into fibers and textiles, which is basically where I work on a loom machine and make sheets of fabrics then for like designers or companies to use. So Pine and Pigment, like I said, is a DIY art studio, and basically their main thing is woodwork. But however, I was talking to a lot of colleges about like what they want me to do to get to learn about that industry. They're like, work with colors, because that way the whole industry is colors and dyeing and knowing how to do all that. So that kind of my essential question, which was, how does having a basic understanding and appreciation of colors and technology aid in the development and creativity of fabrics and fibers? This actually took me a long time to get because I had no idea what I wanted, because technology I think played a really big role with working with fibers. The whole industry now is switching over to like computer aided design, CAD, and like a lot of their things are now done with computers, and the loom machines you still have, but they're all run by computers now. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I first wanted to go into fashion design, but I soon realized I did not like the drawing aspect of it or the sewing aspect of the whole thing. So that's why I found fibers and fabrics. My mentors' names are, I have two mentors, Trish Chuka and Tracy Jones. They both own the studio, and I'm actually one of their first interns they've ever had, which is really nice. They're both moms. All their kids go to Forsyth Central School, so they're actually very like into helping with the schools. And when I approached them about this, they were very, accepting. Like, of course, I will take you. For my future, I did want to go to the University of Alabama. I did get accepted. However, their program is not what I really wanted. It is fibers, but it's also fashion design, which is not really what I wanted to do. So I looked at SCAD, and SCAD had what I wanted. So I was like, okay, yeah, so I applied there, got in, that's where I'm going now. Like I said, the industry helps with like colors, and like the technology is actually really big there, which is why I kind of like soon grabbed onto it. Yeah. So now to the research. And like as I said, I didn't really know how this was going to help me with my career because I wanted to do fibers. So I started to look more in depth into it, and like I said, technology really played a huge role in the whole process planning for them. Because they have to cut out all the stencils, and the technology, the website they use for it is a very demanding website. I forget what it's called. It's a cheesy thing too. It's like Cut for Sure or something. So I didn't really know like what I needed to do for them, and then they soon gave me the technology to use how to do it. The website, like I said, is very demanding, but it's also very quick and easy to catch on to. So I learned how to do that very quickly. So then what I already knew, which was that I know a lot of there's like natural and synthetic fibers, like wool, cotton, hemp is all like natural fibers, and then synthetic, which is polyester, nylon, stuff like that. But I didn't know there was semi-synthetic, like rayon. I really know that was like a mixture of both of them. I didn't really know that, so that was kind of cool to find out. And then that's when I kind of learned more about the dyeing, because when I went to SCAD, they gave me a little workshop, and it was a dyeing workshop, and that one really made me want to focus on the coloring aspect, because I didn't really know that a lot of the dyes are living dyes. So like a lot of them come from bugs and plants, and you get it from rocks too if you wanted to, and like even like foods, like a peanut you can use to dye a shirt, or like a watermelon or a pineapple, which luckily you use pineapple to dye shirts. And then you also have the chemical dyeing of it. What happened?
Just click on the outside of it.
Yeah. And then there's also like the chemical process of the dyeing of it, which I didn't really understand at first because I didn't do too hot in chemistry, but now I kind of get it. So then the second source, what I found out was really interesting is that we can 3D print clothes. So that was something I didn't really know we could do, because 3D printing, you think of like things like the medical field and like things like that. But this outfit right here was 3D printed. It is kind of a plastic, so you can't really like bend in it, but you can still wear it and not like worry about it like coming apart on you. And this is the loom machines. And then lastly, I researched the computer aided design and how like that kind of plays a big effect. It shows you the pattern you want before you like print it out, because you can actually print color on your fabric, which I didn't think you could do. So you can do like the print technology with it, and this kind of gives you like an in-depth look at what it's going to look like before you print it. However, the only downside is that the sheet of fabrics or the strand of fiber is like, it doesn't really, you have to visually see the color before you commit to it, because it could come out lighter or darker than you want it to. So that's the only downside of printing out like the fabric and the color on each other. And then I also, because I wanted to get like a head start on it, there's a book at Barnes & Noble called The Mood Guide to Fabric and Fashion. I don't know if any of you guys watched Project Runway, maybe? Yeah, this is the book about like the mood store and like how they do everything. So it gives you like a good kind of information about like the fibers they have and like the whole store and like why they started the business and how like each fiber like came about, like where it's originated from, how long has it been around. That was a good little history lesson for me. And this is kind of like a little bit of the interview we had to do. So I asked her a lot of questions, and like you said, like try to like the questions to your career, but they obviously aren't in my career field. So I had to base them around like a lot of like what they have there. So I asked her, the main one was like, why is like creativity important? And she said it's like everyone's creative in their own way, regardless if it's like more arts or like even like medical, math, you know, everyone has to be creative in how they solve problems. So I just said that creativity is like a way you express yourself. So that's another thing I took away from that interview, is that like, you know, how you express yourself is your creativity, regardless if it's like your colors are black and white or like yellow and pink. And then with discovery, I found out that I wanted to focus a lot more on like the environmental side of working with fibers. One of my annotated bibliographies, which I'll get to, talked about how you can take plastic bottles and form it into fabrics by breaking it down, by like heating it up kind of and making it grainy, then stringing it through like a strainer to make it a fiber, and you can make a t-shirt out of that. I know a lot of companies have kind of like switched to doing that because it's like, it's better for the environment and looks good for them. And then for my annotated bibs, this is the one that talked about like the plastic and stuff. So like you take the plastic and then they break it down into like the grainy and then into like a spiral fiber, and then that's what makes the fabric to then be used like a shirt or pants or whatever. And then something I found out was that there's things called smart garments, which basically is like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch for your clothes. So it's like a little thing that's like right here, or even like on your pants, or they have it on your ankles too in socks, and it just tracks like everything that you like, your heart rate, what muscles you've been stretching. For diabetics, I know it lets you know before like you your ankles fill up if you're diabetic. So it lets you know like if you're about to like have like a little sugar crash or something's going on. And my last one is just the computer aided design one. So yeah. And I guess like computer aided design is like really kind of what they're all going towards now. And then as was said before is the blog posts. This was like our whole weekly assignments and stuff, and then this was the full interview right here. Yeah. I think my last question is my favorite one. Yeah, what skills do you think can transfer to fabric making? She told me that like you learn how to work with raw materials and make a finished product. Because at Pine and Pigment, they go out and they buy the board themselves, they then stain the board, and they do the paint themselves. They do a lot of like making their own stain by just combining two different colors for the stain. So I did learn like from the start how to make a board really fast as well. And then something that wasn't mentioned in the project was that one of my big projects, because it kind of fell back on me because it was like you're going into fiber, this is a paint studio. They're like doing like a blanket class, so I did have to learn how to do a blanket class while I was there. And I like how we work with fibers, and I had to learn like what would happen if put them in the dryer and like what they're made of, why, you know, the colors are like that, and like what will happen if the colors get drained after a while. And then, yeah, I'll show you. This is the presentation too. So the education you really do need for this is just a bachelor's degree. it, because it's not like a very growing field. The job growth I could not find because no one really knows this career exists. So I read about like a 3% job growth just because it's not that well known of a career. And then the salary for it, it depends on where you work. You know, the yearly salary is about $64K a year. However, if you did work personally with like a designer, like over in like Europe or even like someone here in the States, you could get paid a 6-figure salary because like you are working like for a designer. Like I want to work for Calvin Klein. I just think because like their clothes are so simple, yet like you can do so much with them. Like they're a good accessory for a lot of people. So it's really what I want to do. Like I don't want to work for like a big corporation. Yeah. So that says 46, but I found other places where it's like 64, or like like they said, you can work with designers. Yeah. And then this career is also nice because I do want to have a career that I can travel in. So you can really work anywhere. You know, obviously like a fashion capital benefits you more, but you could also work, you know, somewhere in California, or you can even work in like Ohio if you wanted to, because like fibers and these textile mills are everywhere. But I really want to work in like New York or California, or even like somewhere in Europe. Yeah, like I said, the long-term outlook is not very high for this career. So, okay. Any questions?